Okay.
Hello, Jacqui.
Hello, Jacqui.
Lovely to see you. It's been a while.
It's been ages. Yeah.
I know. Well, we were in person the last time you came and did a talk for me on the inner child. That was, wow, probably 6 years ago, could be.
It might have been longer.
Do you think?
It might have been, yeah.
Well, I remember because Sunita really wanted to come along that night, and she said she's got some Chinese synchronicities, but I'll just tell you, she had some Chinese girls staying with her for the 6-week holiday or whatever, and they were learning English, I guess, over here, were they? Yeah, I think. And then, yeah, you were doing this talk for us about the inner child, and these two girls said, or Sunita said, so she could come, she had to bring them with her. Could they sit at the back of the room or in the corridor, wherever? And I said, yeah, they can sit in the room wherever they want. And they came in and knew you. I mean, there's a synchronicity of all the people, and you had been training them or, teaching them for the week. So, yeah, not a child, but on English, I guess, was it?
Yeah, English. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't teaching them the inner child, but like synchronicity kind of like activates that. You feel like really, oh, wow. It's like, your inner child gets activated with it, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a really good evening. I mean, I love anything about the inner child. I remember afterwards you did say to me, would you like me to give a talk on narcissism? And I didn't even know what that was then, and I didn't like the sound of it. And so I did decline that offer. And but now I've heard, 2 or 3 friends that have had been in that sort of relationship.
Yeah.
Also, a friend of mine, her mother, so yeah, very difficult, very difficult. But I think, and the more you get into a conversation about that, the more people know people. We can all have tendencies of it, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So yes, if you'd like to start whatever you'd like, or we'll say whatever you want to say about yourself, Jacqui, and then we'll have this conversation about narcissism.
Awesome. So yeah, well, thank you for asking me. And
thank you for agreeing.
Yeah, it was interesting because I haven't talked openly, I suppose, about narcissism for quite a few years. But it is still very relevant. A lot of my clients have experienced, well, a lot of us have experienced it. There's people in power that show it as well. So we're kind of all in these relationships. So yeah, my background really is language teaching, as we've kind of touched on. And I've, for years, I've kept trying to get away from language teaching. Like, no, I'm supposed to be a healer. I'm like, trained in hypnotherapy, energy healing, all of the oracle cards. I'm supposed to be a healer, but okay, I keep ending up in language teaching. And really now I'm starting to bring them both together and focus on healthy communication, really. And so, yeah, narcissistic relationships are very much not about healthy communication. So that's kind of where, everything ties together. And the inner child as well, like a healthy inner child helps you communicate more clearly, doesn't it? When you haven't got all those.
Absolutely. When you can nurture your inner child.
Yeah. It makes such a difference to your relationships, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So obviously a reason that, you ever said about that anyway, narcissism. But what I love when I said to you about, would you do this talk, that you would put, or you wanted to put a positive spin on it, because obviously, and also speaking to someone today when I said that we were doing this talk tonight, and she said, this is the time we're moving towards the golden era. We want a high vibration, and these things have to come up now to be healed, to be seen and to be healed. So yeah, I thought that was very appropriate as well. So yeah,
Yeah, and probably as well, like I think I'm in the position now that I can do that. And to be honest, probably when I spoke to you about it, I probably wasn't in that place and couldn't talk about it in a more kind of like optimistic way. So
Yes,
yeah, it's timing, isn't it? It's all,
absolutely.
there is some plan that we're following somehow, even though sometimes it very much doesn't feel like it. But yeah.
I know, but we get trust. We're more trusting now.
Yeah.
So like where I live by Ho'oponopono, or I certainly try to, if I get an inspiration, and when I had this last story from a friend and I thought, oh my gosh, perhaps it really would help to have a conversation about this where we can actually talk about it. With Conscious Cafe, I love that, the fact that when you're doing anything in Conscious Cafe, the person will ask 3 questions of the audience, and they'll break into small groups. Even on here, on going into a breakout room, we can go into and have a conversation, so we all have a voice, and that brings up what things that you perhaps wouldn't normally share. So even if this gets you thinking and you want to, send a message to me, or I don't know if you're happy, Jacqui, to have any messages sent,
Sure.
but, just to help with anything, because it's no laughing matter, I know.
No, no, no. I thought I would read the Narcissist's Prayer. I thought that would be a good, I don't know if you've heard of this, but
No.
you'll recognize it when you hear it. So the Narcissist's Prayer, that didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. That's quite a damaging mindset to live with.
And from what I've read, that's very apt.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see, like so many politicians and people in influence of power, that's their prayer, isn't it? Kind of like, oh, it wasn't that much.
Exactly. How do they get to that? How does anyone? And we're not to sit in judgment. I totally get that, because we have all got a tendency, if need be, that we could have some personality traits of that. But a real full on narcissistic relationship is full on that prayer.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So how do you get to be like that?
Well, the most helpful person I came across when I was researching it more was a guy called Dr. Craig Malkin, and he's written a book called Rethinking Narcissism. And I was like rewatching his YouTube videos today to prepare for this, and he put it in a very interesting way. It's about relying on feeling special to avoid feelings of vulnerability. There's this fear of depending on people, so you depend on specialness instead. And so there can be different degrees of narcissism. For him, we're all on this narcissism spectrum scale. So 10 would be like a pathological, lying, like psychopathic, really, really, really dangerous, that you need to get them out of your life. And then there's kind of lesser degrees of it as well. And really it's someone, in all likelihood, something happened in childhood that kind of caused them to need this coping strategy, where like that vulnerability is just way too much. And so this kind of grasping for specialness is how they cope with not feeling. And unfortunately, that grasping for specialness can mean I have to put somebody else down in order for me to stay in this safe
to feel good about me. Yeah.
Yeah, to have a remote sense of feeling good about me, because everything would collapse if they didn't. But what's really interesting with like his interpretation is, so we've got kind of like narcissism is like the higher end of the scale, and then the lower end of the scale, and this really is kind of where the power comes from, is recognizing if you're at the lower end of the scale, what's the opposite of narcissism. And so often you hear a lot in spiritual communities about like empath versus narcissist, and often people that, you know, is often like the very empathetic, caring person, perhaps they can see the pain in the person and they're healing and they want to help. But he's gone back to the myth. So, you know, narcissism comes from this Greek myth, Narcissus, an echo. So Narcissus was cursed with, you know, he was cursed and fell in love with his own reflection in the water, so much so that he died. And when he died, the narcissus flower grew. And then there was also Echo in the myth, and Echo had been cursed to only ever be able to repeat back the last few words that someone had said. So she loved Narcissus, but of course she couldn't tell him. She only, you know, and he got quite frustrated with her only ever being able to repeat back what he said. And so down the lower end of the scale, they call it echoism. That it's like you don't have your own voice, and you're not in touch with your own needs, and so it's like you're echoing the needs and feelings of other people to have a sense of connection. And often echoist, so it's kind of like if the narcissist is like, I'm more special than everybody else, the echoist is like, everybody else is more special than me. So you can see how that would create the kind of attraction, but really not in a healthy way.
No.
So that really, you know, this kind of, you know, so many people that I've spoken to, once they kind of explore his work and find this word echoist, it's like, you know, this aha moment of, oh, that's what I am. And if, you know, I'm sure, like, you know, from like all the amazing people that you talk to, once you start telling the truth of where you really are, that's when you can really start healing, isn't it? When you're in denial and you're not really telling the truth. So being able to identify, I'm an echoist, that's why I'm ending up around, and it can be, you know, it can be the parent-child relationship, it can be intimate relationships, it can be work, it can even be like coach and client. I've had a few of them. It can be everywhere. So you know, this narcissism spectrum scale, there's also, if you go on his website, you can do a quiz, you can do a little test to find out. And then what's really interesting, the whole reason why his book is Rethinking Narcissism, is because the middle of the scale is healthy narcissism. That it's healthy to think that you're special, but not more special than everybody else. You know, it's like, I'm special in my way, you're special in your way. Let's support each other in our differences and our specialness. So,
and that's really good. That's hopefully where we're going, isn't it? Like when you can see the good in others and tell them, but that can be, you know, you can also receive compliment back. Not that you're looking for that. If you see good in others, to actually say it, because we want the best for everyone. That's what you would hope. That's what a healthy relationship would probably be, to see the good in others and tell them.
Yeah. And also to be able to see the good in yourself, because that's one of the things.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things with echoism, you know, and of course, you know, we're all Robert Holden fans, aren't we? And he often talks about the idea of like, if you're not getting what you want, what part of you is missing? And
absolutely. And the conditioned self and the unconditioned
yes,
self, because I'm just in the middle of my Ho'oponopono and happiness course, and we've just talked about the unconditioned self and the conditioned self, and where we condition ourselves to be the person that other people want us to be, we forget the unconditioned, lovely, authentic self that we are.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And that authentic self, that it, you know, that difference between kind of being dependent on how other people are seeing us, and that they see us as a good person, because we've forgotten that we are good underneath all of, underneath it all. So a little bit more about kind of like, you know, what's going on for an echoist is it can come across that you might be a little bit passive, that you're kind of, you know, not taking up much space, keeping yourself smaller, not asking for much, this fear of being a burden. But it can also be like a bit of a kind of being fiercely independent, that you're kind of oh no, I'm not going to burden anybody with my needs, I'm not going to receive any help, and you know, I can do everything, kind of that is also how it can manifest, which yeah, I was kind of you know, I teach Japanese, so the Japanese expression for that is kind of coming up. So they say like "mimi ga itai," like my ears are hurting, when it's something that's like, when it's something that's true for you, and you're like, oh yeah, I need to you know, re-exploring this stuff has been really interesting to, you know, bring up more layers in me as well. I'm going, oh yeah, I didn't spot that the last time I was exploring this. So it's,
Wow, brilliant. Yes.
oh yeah, the
How interesting.
fiercely independent side, that yeah. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's more that can relate to that as well.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not able to see any comments tonight because I couldn't find the laptop, and then I couldn't get it over to the computer in time. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just on the laptop, so I can't see any comments as yet. But afterwards, I will check that out, you know, and either, you know, send them to you, send the questions to you, or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
because sorry, just you
No,
know,
go
one
for
of
it.
my friends specifically, she was married to um a narcissist, and to her, she was so embroiled in it, but to everyone in the family, they thought he was the most amazing, wonderful man, and didn't really believe her
Oh
as to
God.
how.
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh yeah. You hear that so many times, that they have this front that
yes,
they're showing like the rest of the world, and then there's this completely different person behind the scenes, and and that makes it worse for that person that's stuck in that dynamic, that you,
absolutely.
because it does, like, you know, it can take you to the edges of sanity, like, and lose touch with reality, like, wait, am I just made this up, like
Which just helps what he's made you feel like, or she's made you feel like.
yeah.
Just reinforces that if no one believes you because he's so or she's so different in front of. I mean, I can't. Oh, just can't even imagine.
No, and like, you know, the loneliness and the isolation of that.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then how do you get untangled from that?
Right. So that's where it, you know, I'm kind of like coming to mind of, like, you know, you know, we're talking about synchronicity, that I was at a like marketing workshop a few years ago, and then somebody came and sat beside me. Do you remember I used to do theta healing, and I
Yes.
was teaching it, and this lady that sat next to me wanted to learn, and it was like, wow, that's quite odd that we're at a marketing workshop and you want to learn. And also, I was exploring narcissism at the time. She was leaving a narcissistic relationship, so you know,
Oh,
we've had lots of conversations. In her case, it took cancer, cancer is what got her to see she had to leave that relationship. And sometimes it is, you know, because like often our bodies are speaking the truth. And so it's, you know, hopefully before it gets to needing to be, you know, like that screaming at us to get out, that we can get out. And, you know, being around people that get it, you know, like if you're, you know, your poor, was it your friend that was in that
Yes.
situation, that, you know, having someone that can go like, oh yeah, I've seen that, and then, you know, afterwards as well, that they can use the courts, you know, these emotionally abusive people can use the courts to keep it going afterwards. And there are lawyers and there are judges that get it and can see it, and there's others that can't. So it's the more we can talk about it, and the more we can
Yes.
normalize that, you know, the isolation, and believe people when they say these things, that's, you know, a really healing step for that. In terms of kind of long-term healing, obviously, like it can do quite a lot of damage to our mental health. And I mean, my view on mental health is like often it's really relationship health. That a lot, you know, we leave people on their own, like, oh, you've got the mental health problem, but often it's not in isolation. You know, it's from interactions with other people. So
Yes.
one of the most important things that I discovered, and actually, like, you know, checking back with Dr. Craig Malkin's videos today, he's saying the same thing as well. It's learning to feel, because in that situation, it's like you have to you numb yourself to cope. Like you're having to shut down feeling in order to just survive. And so one thing I found really interesting when I was exploring like this idea of narcissist and echo, that there's some versions of that myth where Nemesis appears. And so Nemesis, you know, the goddess of revenge and retribution. And there is a sense that, you know, you kind of need to tap into that energy, not to express it or actually be seeking revenge, but in terms of, you know, recognizing that you're being harmed, and, you know, being able to tap into anger, and, you know, stepping aside from the, like, if I'm putting everybody else's needs before mine, like, actually, if that was your friend being treated like that, you would be angry for them, you know. So
Absolutely.
why not be angry for yourself? And not anger as in like you have to express it and be destructive, but just noticing, because it's there to tell you like your boundaries are being violated. And maybe it's kind of rage at first because you haven't had that experience of like a healthier, softer anger. But yeah, it's and often that probably will need some professional support, like a, you know, a therapist or experienced coach or healer who can help hold you while you're learning to feel again. And, you know, that inner child that probably in the past had all this suppressed anger that that needs to come out and be integrated, so that, you know,
But
you're
before any of that can happen, Jacqui, how do you actually I mean, really, I watched a little clip of Dr. Phil yesterday, and he said you probably cannot change, but you need to leave. How easy would that be? Are you saying, you know, because you can't change a person really if they're like
no,
that, I guess.
no, and you can't change anyone unless it comes
No.
from within, is it?
Yes.
Yes, that really is a challenge. And I I guess it's kind of like in the case of my friend, it got to that level maybe the universe brings something, or our souls bring something that's just kind of like, no, I can't do this anymore. And
in the case of my friend, it was her grandson that said, you can't he actually could see it, no one else.
yeah,
And her grandson, as a very young boy, said to her, you need to, and because someone had acknowledged, even though it was a young boy, she left that.
yeah,
They're still married as such, but have been separated for many, many years now. And
yeah,
and she still questions, did she do the right thing? But really, she knows she did.
yeah. And because that's it, isn't it? Like, there's so many different parts to us, and you can have that kind of question, did I do the right thing? Like, and you know, one of the things as well, like part of an echoist, is like taking on self-blame, blaming myself, like everything, you know, oh yeah, it's all my fault. Oh, if only I'd been such and such, they would have treated me. Or if you're in that relationship, oh, if only I could be more this way than they were. And it's not true. It's
No.
they're not capable unless, like, that, you know, that willingness to change comes from within. You do have to get away. And I think it would need to be something like that. I love that was like a little child that could see it. And because they can't.
Incredible. I'm just goosed even thinking about that. Yeah, because it really, you know, she just knew how true what he was saying was. And yeah,
That purity and that innocence, saying like, I can see this. And yeah, and I think it is. I think it is like this reconnection with the signs and the intuition and the symbols that are coming in. I mean, sometimes they might need to scream. That example with your you know, your friend, that's such a beautiful, gentle example of the sign to get out. Others actually, like reading Rethinking Narcissism helped to recognize, okay, wait a minute, no, nothing's changing in this. You know, I've had another client that was trying to fix a narcissistic relationship from within, and then eventually recognized it's not happening. I'm gonna have to get out of this. So yeah, I think like often kind of like getting that intellectual understanding of it, even though the healing from it is more about coming into the body and coming into feeling, that intellectual understanding of what's going on is a really helpful step along the way.
very, you know, it's just so it's such a massive, because then there's the question, what will I do if I leave? What will, you know, there's so many, because you, even though it's not great and it's no good for your self-esteem or self-worth, what do I do on my own if I leave? I couldn't even, I don't know how she had the courage to do that, but she did. Yeah. So it just gets to a point then, doesn't it? Something happens, I guess. And she's been fine, even though she still questions, did I do the right thing many years later? But she knows she did.
Yes. Yeah. And I think as well, you know, it's like a lot of abusive relationships, it is whether it's narcissistic or any other kind of relationship, it's gradually building up, you know, because often, like, you are isolated from people. Being able to gradually talk to other people as well and get that support, get in touch with those domestic abuse charities or mental health charities, getting that support in place to recognize that you've been made to believe you're on your own, but you're not. Like, there is a whole world of support out there. I've been working a lot with mind well-being centers through my teaching job, and
great. Yes.
yeah, it is so great to see how many resources and courses. Like, I'm running a couple of courses, and there's so many other courses as well for like building confidence, building your self-esteem, looking after your well-being, and all of it is like charity funded and government funded. So yeah, it's when you can get out, the support is there. And of course, we know from like our spiritual explorations as well that life is trying to support us all. Sometimes it can seem like we're running a story that we're on our own and nobody's helping us. We are supported, and it's in everybody's interest for everyone that's suffering to be supported and to be
Yeah, absolutely.
their authentic self, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's it. People are hopefully, like we're going into a world now that's going to be love. Diana Cooper swears and has done. I mean, I went to see her over 25 years ago, and she was saying by 2032, the world will be love, peace, and harmony. If your mindset is going towards love, peace, and harmony, you're there anyway. But, so much more about helping each other, community,
Yes.
communication,
Yes.
helping. So, yeah, if you're watching this and you feel stuck, if you can start even in your own mind to think of the world you want to live in, of the more you can think of what you really desire to in life, that's what, and you can feel that as well. The feeling is so important. So even if you feel very stuck at the minute, if you could break away from that type of thinking and just really give as much attention and thought to the life we truly desire, of helping each other, finding the best in each other. I don't know what you think, Jacqui, but
yeah I think the 1st of June is Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day.
yeah, I never heard of that.
No, it's so helpful, and reading people's stories as well is a powerful way. And people that have come out of it, sharing their story of how they did it. And often it's not a straight line. It's none of this, we know, like, healing is never like, oh yeah, I jump to peace and love and everything's all shining and joyful for the rest of my life. It doesn't work
Absolutely.
like that. It's
Of course.
messy, and
Gosh, we understand, but we're still emotions. 1 minute, yeah. I'm running a happiness and Ho'oponopono course, and something happened here a couple of weeks ago, and I said to them the next day, "You do realise I'm running a happiness course? I got to stop." Because your emotions can go up and down like that.
yeah. I think one of my favorite books about emotions it's called The Language of Emotions, and that one is by a lady called Carla McLaren. And it's a fat old book but every time I feel anything really strong, it's like, oh, okay, what does Carla say about this emotion? And always it's a friend. It's trying to say something, and it might be that it's something from the past that was trying to tell me something in the past, and it's like, oh, okay, well, thank you for bringing that up now. But they do, like, they have wisdom. Like I mentioned, that idea of anger being your boundary, that's part of Carla's work. And when you can say, like, okay, wait a minute, what's been violated, what do I need to do to kind of restore that boundary? And maybe it is like, I need to say something to someone, maybe I need to get myself out of the situation. But yeah, I think
when you read what she says the emotion is about, that resonates as truth most often to you.
oh yeah. And what I really like about her as well is, like, she's got, that book came out in 2010, and she's got a new version, a new revised version of it coming out this summer. And in the promotion for that, you know, she said, actually, this bit I was wrong and I've gone away. So it's really powerful that she's, you know, owning the, okay, yeah, I got that wrong. I've gone away, researched, talked to more people, and this is the revised version. You know, that's you know, really powerfully non-narcissistic, you know.
Yeah.
That
is the point. We are growing all the time, aren't we, in knowledge,
yeah.
of ourselves and of other things. Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Can you say her name in the book again?
Yeah, Carla McLaren.
Carla
And the book is
McLaren.
The Language of Emotions.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's reminded me. I just found a neighbour's not very well, and I bought her the book You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I still, you know, obviously there's a few books now that forgotten who. There's two other people that write the same, was Speak Your Body Speaks Your Mind or something.
Yes.
Yeah, there's one like that, and another one anyway, a French lady, but very similar. But I always go back to Louise Hay because it's just so, you know, easy. Open the book, you know, and see what's going on. If it resonates as truth for you, obviously you've still got discernment. Yeah.
Yes. That is a big part of it, isn't it? It is learning. Like so many of us, we're so conditioned to kind of give our power away and accept the first explanation that comes, but it really is getting in touch with, oh, how do I feel about this? Does this resonate with me?
Yes.
And being able to, you know, give other people the space to work with whatever works for them, while kind of being like, okay, no, that doesn't work for me, but this is what does work for me, and that's completely fine.
Wonderful. Yeah. So what else do you want to share with us for this subject? Sorry, I hope I haven't butted in too much, Jacqui.
Oh no, because I to be honest, I was a bit oh, is Jacqui gonna ask me questions? I was like checking like the other videos as well to see like, how is Jacqui doing? So, yeah, and so, you know, we've talked about getting in touch with the feeling, and, you know, so probably eventually getting to being able to feel anger is like a really healing first step at like, oh no, actually this person has harmed me and that's not okay. Then there's also you know, it's comes up a lot in discussions now about the trauma side of things, the trauma healing, that, you know, often it is like, yeah, a fight or flight response that's kind of not been able to go anywhere, and it's stuck, keeping us in freeze, which is, you know, part of that shutdown of being able to tolerate being treated that badly as well. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've had like trauma healers on talking about their ways as well. So, you know, a few like somatic experiencing by Peter Levine, that's a really good way. EMDR, they get you to, they shine a light and move your eyes around.
Yes, yeah, we did have a speaker on that.
Yeah. There's another one, Blast, which is, it's kind of based on EMDR, and it's kind of, I suppose it's a bit of a combination of somatic experiencing and EMDR, where you're moving the eyes but kind of giving the body some space to just kind of move the energy around as well. So that one's quite cool. There's there's about 3 practitioners that do the blast technique that I know of in kind of our area.
Oh, really?
Yeah, might be cool to get someone on to chat about that one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking because I've never heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's quite cool. Yeah, and these are, you know, these are all, it is kind of this getting out of the head and into the feeling. And once you can kind of help. It's not some, it's more kind of integrating the trauma, isn't it? And if it is a lot of layers, then that can make, you know, it can be more of a challenge, that it can take a bit longer to be able to integrate those. But things like BLAST and EMDR can help speed that up, you know, not in an overwhelming way, but just
No.
a way to help kind of integrate it so that it's in the past and it's not like affecting your present. And then, so after the feeling, like journaling as well is another cool way, you know, it's one technique that I love. I know not everybody loves journaling, but journaling is a really good way of being honest. And you can, especially if you know that what you're writing is secret and private to you, that you could be honest about what you're feeling, and you can use it to describe what's going on in your body. Oh, sorry, my internet connection's unstable. Oh, I'm back.
You're back.
Yeah. Yeah, so journaling is, you know, a really powerful tool for helping to tell that truth to yourself. And then also, I mean, what I've been exploring a lot recently is telling your story. And I think the telling your story is a really powerful way, because there's that intent to help people by sharing your story, which means I think when you intend to help people with your experience, it does accelerate your healing process, doesn't it? I can take what I've learned and help other people. And also it gives context to kind of some of the hard things that happen in our lives. And what's really cool about story is that a really good story involves transformation. And in order to have transformation, there has to be problems and flaws at the beginning. So, you know, one of them, like, I'm too much of an egoist, for example. And that gradually learning to step into your power is a really lovely way of being able to give context to, like, oh, okay, so that happened and that made me go in this direction, and then that happened, and that's this point in the story. And it just helps bring everything together and see where, like, you're being supported by your soul without necessarily realizing that you're being, you know, you maybe didn't realize at the time, but it was kind of guiding you towards something better in the end.
Yes. Love that. I mean, we just need to listen to ourselves, but it's so easy to say, and we're hearing so much now, go within.
Yes.
Do we really understand? You know, they always say, we always get told the answer's always within, and it absolutely is. It's just knowing how to access it.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to find out how to access that. Very much going back to inner child again. And
yeah. And it is kind of like, you know, the kind of project name I've been working with for ages is Pieces to Peace. And the idea that kind of like when we're fragmented, there's a lot of conflict and noise going on, and that makes it really hard to listen to that inner guidance, because it's usually quite quiet, isn't it? It's not loud, unless you know it's life that's kind of like getting you to realize you really have to make a change.
Yes.
And so by, you know, gradually kind of working this healing journey of kind of, you're taking care of parts of us that have been hurt and have been wounded, whether that's, you know, by like narcissistic dynamics or other situations in life, and bringing, you know, allowing even, you know, the parts of us that we maybe haven't liked so much, they've still got a place in the whole of who we are, and welcoming them home and giving them a place to be the whole of who we are. And all of it can be like alchemized when it becomes part of the whole, that everything can turn into gold that can help other people.
I mean, 1997 at the time, I would have looked back and said was the worst year of my life. But now I can look back and say that was the best year of my life. It was a complete turning of, you know, spirituality for me, understanding more about me, certainly getting on the journey to understanding what loving yourself meant.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, but it takes something big to happen to, or it doesn't always need to, but it did for me.
Well, hopefully for future generations, they don't need quite such a whack around the face that we needed.
Yeah. But then when you can look back, and I think you often hear that people can look back at what they thought was the worst time of their life and see why that had to happen, you know, and where that pushed them forward.
And also, you know, when you can do these things like the trauma healing, like releasing the emotion, it changes how you feel about them as well. Like you're not stuck in the and like that happened to me. You can stand more in your power, more kind of aligned with your soul, more infused with your soul, and see like, oh yeah, that was the only way I was going to break out of the patterns that I was stuck in. Yeah.
So it is really reaching out to people. I mean, it's not that you're not free in these situations. It's not like you're, you know, so you should have hopefully access to a computer or where you can find out, like you're saying, crisis.
Like talking to the charities, the domestic abuse charities, there is more understanding of narcissistic abuse, and there are, the Mind offers such an awesome service to people.
Yeah, there is definitely
like, I've been
help.
so impressed going to their office. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. So what would the world on June the 1st, what does that actually mean? Is it every year they do that? World Awareness Day?
It was, so Bridget, who coordinated one of the multi-author books that I was in, she shared it, and it's apparently they're trying to get something all over social media for across all the time zones, so that it what she was saying, or what this message was saying, it was about kind of getting the awareness into corporations especially. I didn't really fully understand, but I thought it was really good that there is this narcissistic abuse awareness day, because I think
absolutely
it is like, that when that penny drops and you see it in people, that that realization, and they can't go back from there, even if it comes from a child, just that realization of telling the truth of that situation just opens the doorway to that next stage, which it can be scary, and it is moving into the unknown, but it is.
So what would you say are the main characteristics of a narcissist? Because you might not even realize perhaps that, I mean, it must take a while, I guess, to even realize what a situation you're in.
It's so it's that lack of vulnerability would be one of them. There can be, like, you get the ones that are quite showy and well presented and have, like, show off how much money they've got and how much power and status they have. There's that, but there's also the more covert versions where it's more subtle, and when it's more subtle, it's more of these put downs, you know, the specialness that's manifesting in that way of like, actually, I'm not more special than you, but I have to put you down so that I feel more special.
Self-importance.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. Show it, knocking others to make yourself feel good.
Yeah.
Or things, I guess. Yeah.
Or like, or, you know, like I'm, so say for example, like in a workplace situation, I'm insecure about the work that I'm doing, but I don't want to feel that. So I'm going to be critical and nitpick your work so that you feel what I don't want to feel. That can, you know, that's another way that it can manifest. So
Oh, that actually brings up, oh, sorry.
no, go for it.
So that just brings up a conversation that I had the other day with a friend who had a manager that was like that, and an awful situation that she was put into, and everyone knew, but they all, because they all felt, well, it's like a bully, isn't it? They all felt fear of him, so they didn't stand up for her. Again, in a work situation, what do you do there?
Well, in a work situation, actually, my partner was in a situation like that, and getting HR involved, documenting everything,
Everything, yes.
keeping records, get that evidence together. ACAS is like I can't remember, it's some fair employment organization that have lots of really good advice. Talking to an employment lawyer as well, or if you're in a job that has a union, then, you know, talking to your union. But yeah, document everything, and documenting it all, getting it all written down, getting advice, making sure that, because they will try and create this division between different people. So it's and again, that whole, you know, really, am I, you know, nobody else is complaining about this, is it just me, am I just like making a fuss? Trusting,
Yes.
like if it feels off, it's off. Yeah, and you know, like in my partner's case, I was having trouble sleeping over the stress of it, and talked to you know, I talked about it at a networking meeting, and that lady had been through something similar at her work and was like, here's an employment lawyer. And the employment lawyer was brilliant. She was absolutely brilliant. And it just felt, you know, you've got this power with you who knows the law, who knows, like, you know, when you've got that person that knows what can and can't be done, because if you're doing it on your own, you don't know, you know, you don't know the things that they can get away with and they can't get away with. Yeah, and you know, there's a group on Facebook called like Exit the Classroom and Thrive, and the amount of schools amongst teachers, the amount that this kind of, where it's coming out, it's just, yeah, so it's, you know, document everything, get records of everything, get support, and yeah, talk to your union, talk to employment lawyers, and you know, if you do have a case, the employment lawyers are actually, you know, if they can get their payment through like the what's the word for it, the settlement, or if it goes to tribunal, you know, it's yeah, there is.
Well, no workplace are going to want it public like that, are they? So hopefully it wouldn't get that far. But yeah, has that resolved for you? Well, for your partner?
It ended up, we were going into COVID, So it would have gone to tribunal, but because it was COVID, it went to a settlement. And yeah. But then since then, we've plenty of other people we've come across that have been treated the same way by the same person, but they just keep everyone separate.
The amazing thing, you know, how you can help others by knowing what you did by personal experience.
Yes.
And it's just feeling you can talk to someone, or knowing who you can turn to, or where you can get help, isn't it?
Yeah. So
we're sort of coming up to the hour, Jack, and it's too long. You know, I don't think going over an hour, people think, oh gosh, that's too much to watch. So
definitely.
I hope this has helped anyone watching. You know, ask any questions. We'll do our best to help you. You know, if anyone's got any questions around that, obviously you probably want a private message, and I'm happy with that. And if I don't know what to advise, probably not. But I mean, I can ask Jacqui.
Yeah, and I can ask other people as well. You know, I think it is.
Yeah,
it's such a big problem. It does need more.
Yes.
You know, it needs teams of people helping and sharing their stories and sharing what's worked and who they know and the skills they've got.
And when we agreed to do this, I had no idea about this World Awareness Day, but it's like 3 days time, which is quite incredible, isn't it? You know, that we said we'd do this talk today and the World Awareness Day. So I'm going to look at more of that as well. If there's anything comes up on that that gives advice for people. Thank you so much, Jacqui.
Thank you.
Honestly, been lovely to catch up again, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks anyone that's watching. Bye.
Bye.